Hey, thanks for joining me. So, another episode of something that no one really wants to hear from me, a movie review. And I really had no intention of doing anything about Toy Story 5 because I originally hadn't had any intention of going to see it in the theaters. But I have my kids this weekend and we were all just kind of sitting around doing nothing. And I was like, well, why not? Let's get out of the house and let's go do something. Let's go see Toy Story 5. I'm sure that they'll enjoy it. And so we went, and coming out of it, I'm like, I actually kind of want to say something about it. It's not going to be anything shocking or mind blowing at all, but I had no real high expectations of this movie. Like a lot of people, I kind of feel like Toy Story ended itself in the most perfect possible way with the third movie. You know, it kind of told the story and ended up in the best possible place, and what more can you do? And then Toy Story 4 come out, and it was fine. It was all right. I think I've only ever seen it once. Maybe I saw it once in the theater, and then my kids would watch it periodically. So I've maybe seen bits and pieces of it, a second time. But I don't really have any desire to revisit Toy Story 4. So I'm like, I don't know if I give a crap for the fifth one. But again, had nothing else to do with my kids. Let's get out of the house. Let's go do something instead of sit around, stare at our iPhones and stare at digital devices all day, kids. Let's go do something. So let's go watch a movie about kids staring at digital devices all day. And I have to say, I come out of that movie. I mean, I even realized about a third of the way in, I'm like, this is way better than I expected it to be. I was actually shocked. And then halfway into it, I'm like, this is a good movie. I hope it ends well. And by the time it was over, I was like, you know what? They nailed it. Good for them. Some people talk about, is there a reason for this to exist? It's kind of hard to justify its existence. Do we need to keep going with Toy Story? And of course, with the corporate mindset, if there's money to be made, we got to keep going. And I'm one of those guys, some people say that some movies should just stop forever. Like, you just stop making them. And I'm one of these guys that feels like you can keep making movies. I don't care how many you do, as long as you make them good. And that's the trick. That's the hard part. It's just making these things good. But I feel like this one kind of earns its reason for being. And I'm kind of into it. Everyone knows. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it, and so who cares? But, the whole premise is getting kids involved with digital devices, iPads and things like that, and being online all the time. And I thought that they portrayed that really well. The instant that you see one of the kids, the main girl, Bonnie, as soon as she gets that iPad in her hands, the way that her eyes are just focused right on it, that glow from the digital device, how it just sucks them right in. And she's instantly into that world and leaves behind her physical toys. I'm like, I've watched my own kids do that exact same fucking thing. Especially when they were a lot younger. It's just weird. If you've got kids, I wonder how many people have discovered this, but even from like a very, very young age, like when they were just babies, my kids were always fascinated with this little glowing box that daddy held all the time. And it's crazy. Like, they still sit around staring at their phones all the time. I don't let them have social media. Me and their mom don't let them have that, but they get to watch like kids YouTube, and they watch a bunch of funny stuff and silly videos and Mr. Beast bullshit and cat videos. And, they watch their stuff. The point is that the technology and digital devices are a part of everyone's lives, and it's not going anywhere. So you just better deal with it, right? But it was really interesting to see them kind of focus on the kids and how that becomes a part of their life. And in the end, not to spoil anything, but in the end, everyone has to learn to get along together because the digital devices aren't going anywhere. And they do that. But yeah, as far as the story, of course, Pixar, animation-wise, it's like the best animation you're ever going to get anywhere. It looks incredible all over the place. There was a lot of different story points that I thought were funny. There were a bunch of Buzz action figures that were kind of lost in a shipwreck, and they all get free, and they're all stuck in like demo mode, and they're all like Star Command Space Rangers. I think that stuff is the funniest stuff in every one of these movies when they go back to Buzz being a a space ranger, military soldier. That stuff never gets old to me. And there's a bunch of them in this one. And I'm like, how are you going to make this work? And in fact, they were like two separate stories. The Lost Buzz Lightyear toys were off doing their own thing. And then we had the main story. And I was like, how are these stories going to link up? I don't get how this is going to work out, but it does. It actually comes together in a really great way. And I was like, oh, okay, you got me. So that stuff is fun. There's always new characters that are introduced. I think they all work. The one thing that I was most concerned about is that the story is focused on Jessie, the cowgirl. And I think Jessie's fine. I thought her story in Toy Story 2 was good, and it works. She had a tendency to be kind of loud and obnoxious with her screaming, "Yeehaw, partner," all the time. Just this loud, obnoxious voice. And I'm like, Jessie's a good side character. Some characters are in a story and they're perfect as a side character, but the instant you make them the main focus of a story, they just cannot carry the weight of it. Like, anybody know Cars 2? Remember how Mater becomes the star of the show? And that movie fucking sucks. A lot of people don't like the Cars franchise. I actually think the first Cars movie is one of my top, amongst my favorite Pixar movies ever made. I actually think it's brilliant. But number 2 is awful. It's just terrible. And Mater is fucking obnoxious as shit. He is not a starring character. He's not the lead of a show. It doesn't work. And that's what I was worried about with Jessie. I'm like, this girl's a fun side character. Like, she's got her point and her motivations, and she has her own agency and all that stuff. But how can we make her the star of the show? I don't give a shit. But you know what? She was kind of toned down, and she was completely tolerable and likable. I was like, okay, as the kind of how the story revolves around her, I was worried that it wouldn't work, but it did. It was totally worth it. So good job there. There was plenty of humor. There was several things that made me laugh out loud. My boys were into it. There was an emotional moment at the end where, not to spoil anything, but there was kind of an emotional moment and a connection between two people and how it all come together. And my youngest son was sitting right next to me. He saw it. He understood it. And at that moment, he actually reached his arm out to me, put his arm behind my head and pulled me near him. And he put his head up against mine and just kind of held on to me for just a couple of seconds in that moment in the movie. And that shit made me cry. That my sweet boy understood it, and his instinct was to put his arm around me and to hug his dad. So that kind of, meant something to me on a personal level. But all that aside, I was shocked. I had no interest in Toy Story 5. Who the fuck cares? What more could they possibly do? But they did it. So I actually recommend it. I was really surprised. I remember when Pixar used to be a big deal, like every movie they would make would be like, this is a thing we have to go to. This is important. It's going to be brilliant. And they've long since lost that kind of aura about them. Now, there's several Pixar movies I've never even bothered to watch. I'm like, I don't fucking care anymore. Like, somebody has to tell me it's absolutely brilliant for me to seek it out. But there was a time when I would just automatically go see every Pixar movie ever made. I'm like, they're too good. Everything is brilliant. I can't wait to see what they do. But I was actually surprised. Toy Story 5, it's worth it. It's a good continuation of the story. And honestly, I'm like, if you keep making them this good, do another one. Why not? The actors are still alive, at least most of them. They're getting older and aging out and dying. But as long as, honestly, Tom Hanks and Woody, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. God, I almost said Woody Allen. I knew that was wrong. Tim Allen, as long as they're alive and making them, like, you can have the stars of the show, I'm on board with it. It's worth it. So I don't know. Go check it out. If you haven't, if you're on the fence, I give it a serious recommendation. I was actually surprised. So that's all I've got. Thank you for joining me on this quick little Toy Story 5 movie review. And I appreciate it, as always, that you watch my channel. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.